If you woke up standing on a red circle surrounded by strangers and people started getting zapped every couple of minutes, would you figure out how to survive? No, you wouldn't. And today we're going to prove it. Let's talk about the movie Circle and why you would have absolutely no chance of making it out alive. You wake up in a dark room with 50 strangers, each standing on a red glowing circle, arrows pointing in every direction with a black dome in the middle. This girl seems to have woken up before everyone else. When she starts to step out of the circle, she gets a loud warning. She tries to step off again and gets another warning. Even gets a third warning when she tries to touch the guy standing next to her. But this other woman wakes up, panics, steps off her circle, and gets dropped instantly.
Is she dead?
Well, since she's not moving at all and there is blood coming out of her eyes, I would say, yeah, she's dead. An alarm goes off, waking everyone up, and this guy sees the dead woman and tries to run and gets taken out instantly. Realistically, though, I think this would take out a lot more than just one person. After a couple of minutes, one guy notices that they can move the arrow on the floor and vote for people to be killed, and he tells the rest of the group. You might think that he should have kept this to himself and just kept quietly voting for others, but I think this could have ended up backfiring. Eventually, someone else will notice the arrows as well, and if someone sees you waving your hand around voting for people, then I think there's a pretty good chance you would be the next one voted out. So I do think it is better to garner some goodwill with the people and go ahead and tell them about the voting system. It is a good way to show that you have value without necessarily taking a leadership position, which you would want to avoid at all costs. You don't want to paint a target on your back. Once the voting starts, anything can and will be used against you, whether it's true or not. The cop seems to recognize someone else in the room and accuses him of beating his girlfriend. And instead of denying it, the guy said,
"You shouldn't have fucked around on me, man!"
He should have just lied and said that he didn't do it. But unfortunately, this is not the court of law. You don't need beyond a reasonable doubt here. People are looking for any reason to get rid of you. So yeah, admitting to beating his girlfriend was pretty stupid. But in the end, whether you're guilty or not, if someone accuses you of something, your ass is getting fried. He also has that stereotypical thug look about him, which certainly didn't help his cause. So with the knowledge of how this game works, I think the best strategy is to just stay mostly quiet and just make useful inputs here and there. Of course, making political statements in this situation is pretty stupid.
Like, you people don't get enough help. You guys are all the same. You run around, you just want people to hand you things like you fucking earned it. That's what's wrong with this country now. Socialist bullshit.
You have no idea what the beliefs of the people in here are. Oh well, with each person that goes, that increases your chances of getting out. Or does it? You will see later, it doesn't really matter. In the end, you're going to be riding the lightning. Early on, these two pretend to be married. It might seem like a good idea at first, and it probably did take a target off them for a while. No one wants to kill someone in front of their spouse. The problem is, as time goes on and there are fewer and fewer people, someone is going to raise the question, are you married or just lying to save yourselves? In the movie, all someone had to ask is,
What's his name?
And she couldn't immediately answer the question, so everyone knew they were lying, and we all know what happens next.
Don't kill this bitch!
At one point, this guy suggests that they should start offing the older people who are in their 70s and 80s to give everyone somebody to vote for and as a way to buy time. It does make logical sense that the older people should go first, but suggesting it makes you look like a douchebag. It works for a couple of rounds, but he points to a lady who says she's only 52. Most people agreed that she is too young and they don't like that this guy is deciding who goes next. So this guy going on a power trip backfired? No second chances. During the movie, the room gets split on taking out the pregnant lady and the kid so that everyone else has a fair chance, since half the room wanted to save one of them. They argued that with them gone, everyone else has a fair chance at surviving. The problem with this is that actually they have a 0 chance at surviving. We learned earlier in the movie that if two people tie, everyone has to vote again, and if they tie a second time, it kills both of them. So, with the selfish strategy, it will come down to the last two people. They will vote for each other, tie, and they both die, and no one gets out. So, the way I see it, there are only two ways to survive this movie. One is to find someone who is willing to sacrifice themselves for you and make sure you are the last two left. The biggest problem with this is someone who is willing to check themselves out is probably going to do it early on. You can't exactly have a conversation with them without the rest of the room hearing it too. So, convincing them to stay until the end just to save you really is not an option. So, really, there's only one way to survive, which is what Eric does in the movie. It comes down to Eric, the kid, and the pregnant lady. He convinces the kid that they should step off the circle together so that the pregnant lady can live. But at the last second, as the kid steps off, he votes for the pregnant lady, so her and the kid dies and he gets to live. The problem with this plan is there are just too many ways for this to get screwed up. Maybe the little girl gets cold feet and doesn't step off. Maybe the pregnant lady notices you vote and also votes for you last second. Hell, he was arguing for someone to sacrifice themselves for one of those two half the movie. So what if they both just vote for him? He can't really tell them not to without showing his true colors. Also, I think the odds of these two making it to the end is very unlikely. I think the selfish group would have a lot more people in it and they would end up getting crossed off earlier. Actually, there might be another way to survive this. If as soon as everyone gets woken up from the loud buzzer, you just scream run at the top of your lungs, maybe everyone else would take off running and get killed. But realistically, you wouldn't wake up in a situation like this and think of that. It would also rely on you waking up before everyone else. I usually rank all the characters on the death meter, but this time I think I will only rank Eric. He was actually the one that came up with someone sacrificing themselves for one of them at the end, so I believe he came up with a plan and executed it pretty flawlessly. This might be the only character that I give a perfect score, but I'm going to give him a 1 out of 10 on the death meter. So, in closing, you're not beating Circle, you're not outsmarting 50 terrified strangers under alien observation, you're just delaying your turn in the death queue. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like and subscribe. Well, at least the aliens didn't probe anyone. That's something.